Hi, welcome to Andrew Buckle, comic review of Famous Funnies, the nation's comic monthly. Now this is issue 42. This is the oldest comic book I've got. 68 pages and it says January. This was January 1938. It seemed to be on the newsstand in December 1937. I'm just going to quickly go through all the other magazines that were actually available at that time. Obviously I've got here the Mike'sAmazingWorld.com. So let's just go through it. Ace Comics. Detective Comics number 11, obviously that's pre-Batman. Secret Agent X9. Features Funnies. Now I'd love to get a copy of some of those. I've seen some later ones and that. That's 4 and 5. Also Funnies, number 17. Funny Pages, obviously Funny was quite a popular title. Funny Picture Stories. King Comics. More Fun Comics, obviously with Famous Funnies as well. Adventure Comics, that was number 22. Popular Comics, Star Comics, number 9, Star Ranger and Tip Top Comics. Now, they were all the issues that were out at that time, 1937. So let's just go through the comic now. Now, the comic is reasonably nice condition, actually, for an old 1937 comic. It's better condition than I am, certainly for 1937. Still, now, it seems to be, like I say, lots of them are funnies. It's weird because quite a lot of the stories are not particularly, I would say, funny, laugh at. Some are, but there's also a mix. There's detective ones. There's a lot of different stories in it. A bit like some of those early ones that DC Comics produced, and obviously Marvel. There were lots of sort of different stories. So let's just go through this one. And now, there, I love that bit there, and you've got Napoleon. Now, I assume that these all were from newspaper strips. This, according to the Grand Comic Database, was it Great Comic Database? Or was it Grand Comic Database? It was 1935, all newspaper strips. So this one's Napoleon. Assume the writer or the person, the originator, is the name Clifford McBride. I don't know about the artist. It doesn't have any details, doesn't have any details at all when you look at it. But the artwork is superb, very nice quality. Obviously a comedic one. And then on to the next one, Goofy Gags. Again, I have no idea if these gags were... Can't imagine they were from newspaper strips. They might have been, I don't know. But also got here the ownership here. So you've got here October the 1st, 1937, State of New York, etc., etc. And it's got obviously the details there, business manager, etc. And you've got such another little cartoon there, dumbbells, and also performing radios. I love all the adverts. Actually, that's one of the things that I think is great there. You've got here blank cartridge pistol, sort of thing you'd imagine. Oh yeah, let's put one of those midget pocket radios. Your air pistols, cigarette pistols, pea shooters, cat pistols, and obviously bugles. So a lot of stuff on these ones. No X-ray specs though. Then on to the next one. You've got Roy Powers, and that's what I say. It's very unusual they called it Funnies, since there's obviously lots of westerns and things. So it's just, or obviously the guides there, scouts, and you've got also weirdly you've got things down like the side there. You've got like the uniform badges and insignia. Very strange. Roy Powers. You've got a couple of pages of Roy Powers, official story of the Boy Scouts of America. And that was by Paul Powell. Let's Get in a Huddle. You've got, then for something that's set around Christmas time, I would assume that there would have actually been more Christmas. Maybe in the previous issue, there was the cover of the previous issue, obviously number 41, does have an actual Christmas scene. Unfortunately, that was already gone, so I couldn't buy that. And I bought this from 30th Century Comics. They've got lots of great comics on that site. I love going on there. And I thought, you know what? I must really get one of these really old comics. I suspect I will never get any comic older than this. I still regret to this day not getting the New Comics one that I saw. New Comics issue 1. I should have bought that one. I didn't know anything about it, so I didn't realise it was one of the early DC ones. Now, this is nothing to do with DC. Nipper by Dwig, and also Footprints on the Sands of Time, and Sky Roads. You've got lots of action ones, US Air Corps as well there. And like I say, the artwork is really, and again, you can see the origins of newspaper strips. You can just see it done in that style, but really, really quite decent artwork. Really quite detailed, actually, when you look at it. And some of the printing's a bit odd, but I guess over the years, 1937, it's probably been a bit smudged, a bit, what's known. So it's not, but I love the different styles of writing as well. Quite often the lettering's always great. Very, very different from the way it's done now. So, and you've got here, of course, Hairbreadth Harry. Again, none of these are really I'm that familiar with. I mean, but the story, unusual. unusual. It's gone, the spaceship's gone. Obviously a science fiction story, but the next story is, of course, a more famous one. Buck Rogers of the 25th, I was going to say 35th century, the 25th century. I wonder if they're ever going to update that, because when it gets to the 25th century, people can look at that and go, it's obviously a bit... But it's still, they were great little stories. Actually, to be honest, I remember more, obviously, the Buster Crab and those sort of ones, as well as, of course, the ones that the 1970s series. I love that, those Buck Rogers ones. You got here Buck Rogers. And again, the artwork's great. Now, it's not Frank Frazetta, because Frank Frazetta, I think, did some of the Buck Rogers later on. But these ones are clearly not Frank Frazetta. They don't look it to me, anyway. You got here Phil Nolan and Dick Calkins. But it's still great. Life's Like That by Fred. Again, some more sort of things. But also crime. Again, not what I would classify as a funny, but it's just odd the way they include it all into that sort of title. But War on Crime. These are apparently the G-Men activities from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, no less. And again, very decent little stories there. All talking about various, numbers on these bills. Obviously, various frauds and things done there. And Dickie Dare. It's really quite... And then from Dickie Dare, you've got this one, The Adventures of Patsy. Again, some of these stories never ever heard of. You've got Funland, Everybody's Playmate, which I think is quite good, because it's one of these ones where you can... To win this picture game, you're required to find at least 55 different objects. That's going to take you now that's quite a long task. 55 well, I guess all that begin with the letter T. I can see turkey. I've already run out. Really? I mean, there's lots of things on there. Maybe there are lots of things. But that's really struggle, actually. No idea. Obviously different set of words. I wonder if they've got the clues in the back. That'd be nice if it actually says. Does it say the clues? No. I don't know if people had to send these in or something. Doesn't give any detail. Doesn't give any. Oh, I love that one there. Sam Snake, and also that was surprising. Gas mask. I was quite surprised by that, because obviously this is before the war. It's just unusual. But anyway. Napoleon again, obviously they've got some more Napoleon there. And then you've got, I can't even make that one out, Holly of Hollywood. So just one little strip. That's it, just one strip. I don't know why they just included one strip. You'd think the whole page, wouldn't you? And then you've got Keeping Up with the Joneses. And this one, Above the Crowd by Stookie Allen. Again, I love these ones where they're sort of a really quite dramatic picture, and then obviously it's the toast of all the capitals of Europe, etc., etc. The Frog Pond Ferry. And this one here, look at that, lovely bit of artwork there. Animals in the News, Okie Dokes. Again, just really, really quite decent artwork. And you can see the origins of the newspaper strips, where it's from. So Okie Dokes there. You've got Seaweed Sam, which is really nice. And Highlights of History. You've got Cleopatra. I've just been watching on Netflix the Cleopatra series. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Not for everyone. I know it's it caused a bit of controversy, but it was okay. I always enjoy Roman dramas like that, Egyptian ones. So there's always, you've got Boys and Girls World Over, and then you've got Ollie of the Movies. Again, another obviously Hollywood sort of themed one, which I think is quite a nice little story. Again, you obviously got the starlet there and all that sort of, we might as well begin rehearsals with a love scene. Lona and Skip. Ready? All good stuff. Scorchy Smith. Now that's Noel Sickles. Now that's really quite nice to have that. Fortunately, there's a book of the art of the Scorchy Smith one, and that is crazily expensive now. Now I always think, I wish I'd bought the Noel Sickles one of Scorchy Smith. I don't think I've got much. I think I've got one or two bits and pieces of that, but that's about it. Other than this, obviously now, Bobby. And this one here, somebody's stenog. I have no idea. Somebody's stenog. I love the artwork. The artwork's great. I mean, that's a lovely, sort of very definitely, the backseat driver as well. I'll meet you in the book. Yeah, I don't think I get away with that now. But it's just, some of these actually got some obviously marks over the years, I think. But it's like the water cooler's dry and all those sort of things. Oh, very odd. Bobby. Again, lots and lots of stories. So if you like one, and you didn't like another one, you've got a lot of stories to choose from. Again, I wish they'd made it so a bit easy to actually read the writing there. Very hard. And this one is Mescal Ike. Again, some very unusual names. I guess that was a common name, maybe. I don't know. Magic Made Easy, which is great. Again, I'm certain those. Napoleon again, that's obviously, you've got here Woozy World Tours. And then just one strip. Just odd. The way it was built up and combined. Obviously, maybe they had a sort of like this fort, you know, obviously this part, and then they had to fill something. They thought, oh, we just got to have one strip, and they put that. Shoe Tree in Bay Bunting by Roy L. Williams. Now, maybe all these people are mega famous, I don't know, but they, you know, again, the artwork's fine, absolutely very nice. Punky, Connie by Frank Goodwin. Again, great artwork and very much of the period of that style. You can see the fashions. And that's one thing I always love about these ones quite often is the fashions as well. You just look at it and the style of, you know, it's a complete, it says, the article says that they're raising the fare from 5 cents to 10 cents, which is quite a bit of inflation, wasn't it? That was quite an increase. You got, again, There's a Town, Beehive and all those sort of things, Queenie. And what's the one? Homer Hoop. Maybe there's a thing that some of these characters, they could come back again. Who knows? The Frog Pond Ferry. And then finally, A Maze a Minute. Obviously here, 1 pound of hydrogen has the lifting force of 13 pounds. All this sort of information. But still, I love these sort of ones. These are really good because lots of these are very hard to get. They don't turn up that often. And unless they... But you can, of course, there's various websites where you can, obviously, Issue comes to mind. Though I don't think it's got this one. It's got quite a few of the famous funnies. So occasionally I look on those and it's nice just to go through those and just see there's different stories. But there are obviously other sites as well with all these sort of various comics of that period. And I love it. Really nice to get. I'm really pleased I picked up a copy finally. I've been, like I say, thinking about it quite a while. Well, what's your oldest comic? Have you got a comic from the 1950s, 1940s? Have you ever bought one that's even earlier than this, 1935, 36, that sort of time? Also, probably even, there's even earlier ones, of course, those platinum ones, platinum period. I don't think I'll ever pick up a comic that's of that period. They go for quite a bit and also probably not readily available in the UK. Please, I stand corrected. Please put in the comments, are they regularly found? Or those sort of comics from like 1909 or something, those sort of things. I've never seen those. Now, I have picked up some old sort of very tatty comics and things from, obviously, the UK, lots of old comics from like 1910, 1920, but no American ones. I've got no sort of American ones from the very, very early period. And obviously all the newspaper strips. I've got no newspaper strips. It would be great to get those. And again, I often see those on eBay. They list them, but of course, they're often the 1960s ones, 1970s ones, not the 1910, that sort of period. But this one, Famous Funnies, the Nation's Comic Monthly, I say, a lovely little issue, and I'm really pleased I picked this up.